Think about for a minute the busiest day that you've had so far in your college career. Maybe it was that day that you had that huge research project that you had due and you totally forgot about until the night before. Maybe you had a couple of midterms that you had to take, and of course you put off studying until right up to the last minute. Or maybe you just had a few huge reading assignments given to you by professors who obviously think you have no life outside of your class. We've all been there, and your day probably looks something like this. You stayed up late, you're in the library, in your dorm room until midnight, 1 in the morning. This girl's getting by on a cup of coffee. Obviously for you guys it'd be like a Coke, decaf maybe, or a Snickers. And because of the huge workload, you probably don't have time to take a lot of breaks, much less spend an hour at the gym or go play tennis with your friends. That's kind of the default lifestyle that we think we have to have in order to have a successful college career. But if we end up keeping that up for too long, we wind up looking like this. So I'm going to talk today about personal energy management. I'm going to talk about what it is and why it's important. So the three foundational principles of personal energy management are sleep, diet, and exercise. For sleep, we should be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. Now actually 40% of the population is getting less than that. And studies show that after one day of getting less than 7 hours of sleep, your cognitive ability goes down by 30%. And after 2 days, your cognitive functions take a dip down to 60%. So that's 40% of what your normal levels are. And even getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep isn't enough to sustain energy throughout the day. We all take a natural dip in the afternoons, and therefore it's recommended that we take a 20 to 30 minute power nap in the afternoons. And this actually has the effect of increasing our energy and our performance for up to 6 hours. The second principle is diet. It's recommended that we eat 5 to 6 small, low-calorie, balanced meals each day. Eating small meals more frequently means that we get a more constant supply of energy, and we don't get that bloated, lethargic feeling that we get after having a huge meal like on Thanksgiving Day. We should also avoid any foods that are in high fat or high sugar content, because those are detrimental to our performance as well. And the third principle is exercise. We should be getting 20 to 30 minutes of exercise 3 to 5 days a week minimum, with a really good balance between cardiovascular exercise and strength training, not leaning too much one way or the other. So this seems like a lot of stuff to have to take care of for people who are taking 15 credit hours, working 20, 30 hours a week like a lot of us are. But the effects of having good energy management are way too important to ignore. The first effect is on our mood. Studies have shown that people who follow all of these principles are much less susceptible to depression. And even people who have already been diagnosed with depression are able to snap out of it a lot quicker when they follow these principles. In a study done on 3 different groups of people who had depression, the first group was told just to take antidepressants. The second group was told not to take any medicine, but to just exercise for 30 minutes a day. And the third group, the control group, did nothing. And the results of the study actually showed that the group who exercised did better or the same as the people who took the antidepressants. So exercise has actually been prescribed along with medication for people who have depression so that they can recover more quickly. The second benefit is on our physical energy levels, or physical and mental energy. When we have more physical and mental energy, we're able to put more energy into each task that we do, and we're able to have more endurance throughout the day so that we can get more done. So instead of having to stay up until midnight getting all our stuff done, we'll have the energy to get it done a lot quicker and have time to go get that 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And the final benefit is on our brain power. This takes form in our ability to focus, in our ability to concentrate, our learning ability, our ability to memorize, and also our creativity, our innovation, and our decision making. In a study done on students who were taking the SAT, students who were able to complete 5, 6, 7 fitness standards, which include the number of push-ups and pull-ups and all of that, did exponentially better on every single section of the SAT than those who weren't able to pass any fitness standards or were only passed 1 or 2. So on days where you have the huge workload, where you just have so much to do and you can't even imagine how you're going to get it done, instead of defaulting to that lifestyle, and instead of feeling like this, you'll end up feeling like this. Are there any questions?